The forest was on fire. Flames swallowed the trees behind her as Amara ran barefoot through mud and broken branches, her lungs burning, her heartbeat louder than the gunshots chasing her through the dark. Smoke clawed its way into her throat as she stumbled forward, sprinting with the last strength her body could give. She didn't know who was hunting her. She only knew they wanted her dead. A branch sliced her arm. She cried out, but didn't stop. The sound of engines tore through the trees. Headlights sliced the darkness apart. She was out of time. Then, a hand grabbed her. She screamed, twisting violently, but the grip was iron. "Stop fighting," a man's voice said urgently. "I'm getting you out of here." She looked up, and her world tilted. It was Adrian Kessler, the billionaire she had destroyed, the man whose empire she had burned to the ground with the truth. He dragged her through smoke and chaos toward a helicopter waiting in a clearing, gunfire exploding behind them. His security team fired back as flames consumed the cabin she had hidden inside for months. As the helicopter lifted into the sky, Amara stared at the fire eating the earth below. Her safe house, gone. Her hands shook as she finally looked at him again, and the question ripped from her lips in a whisper. "Did you save me, or did you kidnap me?" 6 months earlier, Amara Iñacho believed the truth was enough. She was 27, an investigative journalist, quiet, relentless, raised on her late father's words that truth was both a weapon and a curse. She had followed a trail most reporters were too afraid to touch. Shell companies, poisoned water supplies, vanished communities, and government contracts stamped with blood. All roads led to one name, Kessler Industries, and one man, Adrian Kessler. The story broke on a Monday morning. By noon, it was everywhere. By night, the world was on fire. The stock market plummeted. Protesters filled the streets. Governments announced investigations. The mighty Kessler empire, the company that touched medicine, war, technology, and politics, began to crack under public rage. But power never falls quietly. The threats started that same week. Emails, phone calls, anonymous messages that disappeared after being read. Then, one night, a car followed her home through rain so heavy she could barely see the lights behind her. Yet it never fell back, never overtook her. It just followed. 3 days later, a package arrived at her apartment. Inside was a photograph of her father's grave. Across it, in red ink, were 2 words, "You're next." That night, federal agents knocked on her door. Witness protection, immediate relocation, no contact with anyone, no exceptions. The safe house was a lonely cabin buried in endless forest. Bulletproof windows, locked doors, rotating guards, no internet, no phone, no outside world. They called it protection. Amara called it a cage. Every night she sat at the same small wooden table and read from her father's old notebooks. Emmanuel Iñacho had been a journalist in Nigeria before they immigrated. He taught her everything she knew, how to follow money, how to spot lies, how silence could be just as loud as confession. One line haunted her. "The truth will cost you, but silence will cost you more." She traced those words every night like a promise she had already broken. Outside the cabin, the guard shifted every 12 hours. Same pattern, same routine, same false sense of safety. And far away, in a glass-walled office overlooking the city, Senator Victor Harwood watched the news with his phone pressed coldly to his ear. "She testifies in 3 weeks," he said. "I want her silenced before that." On the other end of the line, a woman trembled. "But she's in federal protection. I can't just—" "You can," he said calmly. "And you will." The woman closed her eyes as shame flooded her chest. Her name was Elise Garner. She had been Amara's mentor, her editor, the woman who once held her hand before her first big story went live. Harwood had shown Elise evidence of her own buried sins, fabricated quotes, paid silence, crimes that would erase her from journalism forever. "Give me her location," he said, "and you live with your reputation intact." Elise chose survival. Now, pause the story for just 1 second. If you're already feeling the tension, don't forget to hit the like button right now. It tells me you want more powerful, real storytelling like this. And if you're new here, subscribe so you don't miss the next part of this story. Back to Amara. The warning came too late. It was 2:47 a.m. when she heard the faint mechanical hum. A drone hovered just beyond the tree line. Its lens pointed directly at the safe house. Her blood turned to ice. She ran to the door, pounding. "Rodriguez, there's something out here!" No reply. She looked through the window. The guard's chair sat empty. His coffee cup lay on the ground, still spilling. Then she smelled it. Smoke. The basement caught fire first. The alarm never sounded. They weren't shooting her. They were burning her alive. She slammed a chair into the bedroom window again and again until the bulletproof glass finally shattered. She climbed through as flames swallowed the hall behind her and dropped into the cold darkness below. Moments later, the forest exploded with headlights. Men. Multiple voices. She ran deeper into the trees. And then, the hand grabbed her. And Adrian Kessler pulled her from death. "Now, if you've made it this far, I need you to do one thing for me. Drop your country or city in the comments. I want to see how far this story is reaching across the world. Because from here on, nothing gets easier." The helicopter landed on a private estate carved into a mountainside just as dawn began to break. Amara barely felt the ground when they pulled her out. Her hands were shaking, her throat burned. Her clothes were soaked in smoke and ash. A medic wrapped her bleeding palms without a word. The smell of antiseptic made her stomach turn. Adrian watched her from across the room, silent. Glass walls, armed guards, cameras blinking like unblinking eyes. This wasn't a rescue. This was another cage. He finally spoke. "You're safe here." She laughed, short, broken. That's what they said at the safe house. He poured 2 glasses of whiskey and slid one toward her. She didn't touch it. "Why am I here?" she asked. "Because if this is some twisted revenge—" "If I wanted you dead," he said calmly, "I would have let the fire finish the job." Silence settled between them. Then he leaned forward. "The people who burned that cabin weren't just mine. They were everyone's. Politicians, contractors, intelligence brokers. You stood in front of a system, Amara, and the system decided to erase you." Her breath hitched. "And you're part of that system?" "I was," he corrected. "And now I'm its biggest liability." He slid a thick folder across the table. "These are names no journalist has ever touched. Judges, senators, media owners, war profiteers, people who hid behind me." She opened it. and felt the floor drop out from under her. This wasn't just corruption. This was rot at the center of everything. "I want you to help me release this," he said. "All of it." Her head snapped up. "Why?" "Because my board is voting me out, and when they do, I become the fall guy for everyone. I won't go down alone." "So you burn the world instead?" "Yes." She pushed the folder back. "You tracked me, violated federal protection, dragged me here without a choice." "You didn't have a choice at the safe house either," he shot back. "And your protection was compromised. Someone sold you out." Her chest tightened. "No," she whispered. "You were leaked," he said, "from inside your own circle." That night, alone in the room they gave her, Amara traced her fingers over her father's notebook. "Someone close to you will betray you." She hadn't wanted to believe it. 3 days later, she found the proof. Hidden within the encrypted system logs Adrian's team recovered from the safe house servers, one digital fingerprint stood out. Elise Garner, her mentor, her protector, her friend. Amara's legs gave way beneath her as the truth settled into her bones. "She sold me," she whispered. Adrian stood behind her in the doorway. "I warned you." Tears slid down her face in silence, not from fear, from grief. Elsewhere in the city, Elise broke down in her apartment, surrounded by pill bottles and shut curtains. News reports played on repeat. Amara Ihanacho, presumed dead in safe house fire. Elise sank to the floor. "She's dead because of me," she sobbed into her hands. Her phone lit up. "Victor Harwood. She's alive," he said, "and now she's with Kessler." Elise froze. "You're not finished. You're going to feed us everything. Manuscript locations, movement schedules. If you fail this time, you don't survive to regret it." Elise whispered, "I promised I'd be free after the first." "You believed that?" he said coldly. "Track her or join her." The line went dead. Back at the estate, the writing began. Day after day, night after night, Amara verified every claim Adrian made. Offshore accounts, bought elections, disappeared activists, manufactured wars. Each confirmation hollowed her out a little more. Adrian slept less, talked more. One night, without warning, he said, "My mother died in a factory collapse my father covered up." She looked at him. "She was the first lie I ever swallowed, and I built everything on top of it." For the first time, she saw guilt instead of ego. But doubt followed close behind. While reviewing the manuscript late one night, Amara found something missing: a military deal, a massacre, 50 civilians executed. The command trail stopped just short of Adrian's name, but the recovered audio files told a different story. The order had come from him, and he had erased it. She confronted him at dawn. "You edited the deaths out." His jaw tightened. "That one decision doesn't negate the thousands I've exposed." "You're still protecting yourself." "I'm protecting the mission," he snapped. "If the public sees me as a monster, they'll dismiss everything." "You are a monster," she said quietly. "You just decided where to draw the line." For the first time since she met him again, Amara feared him. Then Elise's message arrived. "I'm sorry, I was forced. Please meet me. Let me make this right." Amara stared at the screen for a long time. "She's lying," Adrian said. "She's desperate, just like you were." "You step outside this estate, you die." "Then I die knowing the truth." He looked at her, and for the first time, he didn't try to stop her. Now, quick pause here. If this story is pulling you in, make sure you've subscribed because the next part is where everything collapses. And if you believe you could forgive a betrayal like this, comment "forgive" below. If you couldn't, comment "never." Amara arrived at the abandoned press building alone. Elise waited in the dark. The moment their eyes met, Elise broke. "I didn't mean for them to kill you," she cried. "I just wanted it to stop." "You sold my life for your reputation," Amara said. "I was afraid," Elise sobbed. "And now they're coming for both of us." Footsteps echoed outside. Lights flashed through broken windows. Elise whispered, "He's here, Harwood." Amara checked her phone. A message from Adrian had arrived seconds earlier. She turned the screen to Elise. It showed the kill order Elise had signed, with her own trembling hand. "You never stopped," Amara said. Gunfire exploded through the doors. Elise screamed, and Amara ran. Amara ran through the back exit as bullets ripped through the walls behind her. She didn't look back. She didn't slow down. She burst into the alley just as a black SUV screeched toward the building. A hand shot out from the driver's window and pulled her inside. The door slammed shut and the car launched forward. She turned. Adrian. Blood stained his sleeve. "I told you not to go alone," he said. "I told you she was lying. She was." Amara's phone began to vibrate wildly. Unknown caller. She answered without thinking. Elise's voice came through in gasping sobs. "I tried to stop him. I tried—" A shot thundered through the line. The call went dead. Amara dropped the phone. For the first time since the fire, she screamed. Back at the estate, silence took over. Amara sat alone in the writing room for hours, staring at Elise's last message, replaying her voice, the crack of the gunshot in her ears. Someone had finally paid the full price for choosing survival over truth, and it wasn't the man who deserved it most. Late that night, Adrian returned. "They cleaned it up quick," he said. "Press will say it was self-harm." Amara didn't respond. "You don't blame me," he added quietly. She finally looked at him. "I blame everyone," she said, "including you." He nodded once. "That's fair." The manuscript was almost finished. Names, dates, victims, shell corporations, secret tribunals, black budgets. Every chapter tore open another layer of rot beneath the world. But Amara still hadn't released the hidden order, the one that Adrian had erased, the one that proved he had commanded the massacre. He noticed. "You're hesitating," he said one evening. "I'm verifying every last detail," she replied. "No, you're deciding whether or not to end me." She didn't deny it. That night, Harwood made his final move. The governments began to collapse before the book was even released. Whistleblowers were dying. Evidence disappeared. Broadcast stations went dark. And then Adrian received the call. "They know," Marcus said. "They're coming." Gunfire exploded across the estate before the sentence was finished. The power cut. Security fell within seconds. Helicopters roared over the hills. Amara ran to the server room as explosions shook the walls. This wasn't extraction. This was extermination. Adrian followed her inside. "You have to upload it now," he shouted over the alarms. "I will, but not your version." He froze. "You're still thinking about that?" he demanded. "You ordered 50 people to die. And I'm trying to expose thousands more," he snapped. "The system falls with me as its messenger. If I go down, all of this dies too." She screamed back to him through tears, "The truth doesn't care who delivers it." Gunfire drew closer. They had seconds. He moved closer to her. His voice dropped. "If you expose me fully, this never publishes, not in time. Harwood wins. And if I spare you, then the world burns," he whispered, "but it burns correctly." For a moment, all she saw in him was a cornered animal. For another moment, she saw a man who had built hell and was finally afraid to enter it. Now pause right here. If the truth were in your hands and it could destroy both a monster and a system, what would you do? The servers were uploading. 12%, 13, 14. Her father's words echoed in her mind. Choose your price wisely. The doors to the server room blew inward as armed men flooded the hall. Adrian looked at her. This is where you decide who you are. 80%, 85%. He reached for the master terminal. She grabbed his wrist. You don't get to rewrite what you did. 91, 93. He stared at her like he had never seen her before. Then we both die tonight, he said. Maybe, but the world will finally know why. 97, 98. A sniper shot shattered the glass above them. 99, 100%. Upload complete. The room fell silent. For 1 second, the world changed. Across continents, screens lit up, cell phones vibrated, governments locked down. Names that ruled economies were suddenly naked. Harwood was arrested at the steps of the Senate, judges resigned, corporations collapsed, and in the chaos, Adrian Kessler dropped to his knees. Handcuffs snapped closed around his wrists. He looked up at Amara one last time. You chose, he said. She answered through shaking breath, so did you. They pulled him away. Outside, dawn broke through smoke and ash. Months later, the world no longer looked the same. Trials filled the news, empires vanished, and Amara Iheanacho disappeared. No interviews, no speeches, no awards. She surfaced quietly in a small classroom with no cameras and no headlines. On the board behind her were 2 words: investigative journalism. She placed her father's notebook on the desk and began teaching the next generation how to tell the truth without becoming its prisoner. Now, if you stayed until the end of this story, you are powerful. Subscribe if you want more real, emotional thrillers like this. And remember, silence always has a cost.
If you enjoyed this story, please like, share and subscribe for more. Thank you.